Okay, welcome everybody. It's a weekly meeting. We've moved to Mondays, and today is October 1st. Yeah, so just to kick things off, so last week we put together a roadmap. At least the document version is still in draft, and then a presentation that we shared more widely. And so I'm happy to talk about that with folks, and hopefully we can keep evolving on it. The one thing that we've done is try to get owners for particular sections, at the very least owners for each milestone, which to me means a combination of like a person who will manage that area or milestone, but also someone for the community to come to if they have questions for that area. So like they're kind of tracking the work around that, and they know how to get people engaged. So that's my current thinking. And I can share both of those does everyone have access to those? I'll pull up.
Those being the slides and the doc roadmap, like those
Yep.
two? Or were there other?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope, just the doc and the presentation. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I could actually walk through the roadmap itself, and then it'll freshen everyone up this morning.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking at this for the first time, so I wouldn't mind if you wanted to do that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll walk right on through it then. Let's do desktop 3. Is it showing a screen with the roadmap?
That's what I see.
Sweet. Cool. Okay, so yeah, this is our roadmap for 2019. And so just to kick things off, we start with the mission statement for our group in nteract, which is we strive to create fantastic interactive computing experiences that allow people to collaborate with ease. And that paves the course for everything that's to follow. The top level one is to support end-to-end workflows. So starting off with collaboration and sharing, we want to do automatic notebook versioning, notebook discovery. That is like we'll be able to publish notebooks somewhere, but then also like for an org, be able to publish them and then index them so that they can be surfaced within some sort of like gallery area. And so we need share and publish functionality within the nteract UI for it. And then comments on published notebooks. I can give a little bit of like there's a nuance in why I say just comments on published notebooks, and that's because we can encode the cell IDs on the published ones, and then we'll have like a reference copy that we can actually pull annotations from a separate server. And then multi-user real-time interactive notebook editing. And so those are the basics for collaboration and sharing. Right, and so for us to do real-time, we have to do a server-side model. I think I was the one that said that I would own this section, and so to me these are in order the way that we do them. That's not the same for the others where things can be worked on in parallel. Notebook scheduling. So the main thing for that is to finalize Papermill 1.0, improve the test coverage, abstract the notebook data recording, the like Papermill records, better out-of-memory crash experience, support for additional languages, JavaScript, Julia, and then make scheduling a lot easier, both being able to do it in app as well as have an API, right? Which would probably do the API first, then allow it within the app. And then context and insight, still under this end-to-end workflows. So we want to have deep Spark integration. There's actually someone named Krishnan who made the Spark monitor. So I'll work with him on this setup that he's got. And so it gives insight into Spark jobs while also setting up a Spark listener in Scala. Like you actually like install this, and then it basically is kind of proxying Spark info for you. And then we want to collaborate with Spark maintainers to enhance interactives, like the way in which you can look at how the jobs are going, what resources are available. And then in that same kind of lane, but not just specific to Spark, is to improve kernel visibility even more. So, we should be able to see memory, CPU, clusters you're connected to, and then see anything else about what's going on with the kernel, like the state of the kernel, any errors, and basically get us, like in classic Jupyter, there's the little dot, and that little dot doesn't tell you much. We want more context available. And so some of this stuff may end up requiring Jupyter protocol work in addition to UI work. And then we want to enhance the user experience. So this primarily is like a bunch of data explorer improvements, both for metadata persistence, which folks have been working at lately, in-table sorting and filtering. And then there's just general UI improvements. This goes back to the kernel context we talked about on the last one, as well as user-defined configurations for how they want to work with their editor in the notebook. IPython and Jupyter widget support. Jonathan Frederick is actively working on this right now. And then multi-kernel execution within a single notebook. And this could be that we document the current ways you do it with Magix, but we also just make it a really clean path amongst different languages to work with them, or we actually do multi-language support, which, yeah. And then we want to empower the user community. So this is about scaling our users. So we want to figure out like what our user roles are, and create guides for each of those users, so they have good defined paths to figure out how to do something within their role. And then on marketing and branding, we want to fully unify the documentation and marketing website. Marketing website being nteract.io, kind of the big landing page. And then the documentation kind of being scattered across docs.nteract.io and components.nteract.io. This is the stuff that Safia is spearheading. And then share Nteract at least 3 different industry conferences. Write guest blog posts and editorial content to kind of expand who has access to Nteract. And then draft notebook showcases in collaboration with industry and academic partners. So it might be that it's going to be demos that work along with someone at Microsoft or Amazon or whatever. I think that was the general idea. And that there's more in the doc version of this, but Safia is a good point of contact for answering that one. And then scale the contributor community. So we've done a lot towards this for documentation, but also just generally, like we have a lot of components that we should document and make available, and just keep on that path, because we can document a new component and put it up on the site, on the components.nteract.io site pretty quick. And then on top of that, make sure that there's not just like, here's how you use tiny building blocks, but also like, how can I put these together to build something overall? And part of the reason you want to do that is that for new contributors, if they can go to a tutorial to learn how to do it, it should hopefully make them more comfortable actually working on the main apps, whether they're working in Hydrogen or Nteract or whatever. Like we give them documentation that lets them kind of bridge the gap and learn how to work with these tools and components. And then overall outreach, we want to develop an ambassadors toolkit for promoter users. That is something that people can take with them to be able to speak about the project and know that they're representing it well, and have the right resources and maybe even stickers or whatever else will help them get out there in the world. And so we also need to publish bi-weekly educational blog posts on the JavaScript stack we're using. And then for development, provide contributors with technical and leadership training. So as much as possible, like for us, like we should make sure that we're all able to level up. And so with primarily num-focused funding, as well as stuff that I've set up, you should be able to get access to learning whatever you need, whether it's React or code of conduct response or anything else. Like that stuff should be available. And if you're ever curious about something and you can't get your employer to pay for it, then you should come talk to me or Safia. Yeah, and that's it.
It's a nice looking deck there. Lots of good ideas. I think I fixed my mic a little bit, by the way, too. I was listening to my webcam, but let me know if you can't hear me.
Oh yeah,
So.
this is perfect now.
Yep, can hear you well.
Oh, that makes sense why your button didn't work then.
Thanks for putting together those that roadmap, or at least the parts of it you did put together. I think it's a good direction.
Yeah. So the doc itself, and I could probably show this on here again. I don't want to be. I'm going to switch this. This one. Okay. So we've got like an actual formal doc for these. And I put down sections and owners, some of which had real easily defined owners for like an overall segment. And then somewhere it may make sense to just kind of split it again. So like context and insight, I suggested either having M or Holden go over that one, mostly because there's both like the kernel context stuff as well as the Spark stuff. And it's also okay if we don't have an owner. It just means that we don't go after that area for a while.
Or that parts of the area are pursued, whereas like I don't have the context to do all of the Spark, like Scala side.
Yeah, so I think, so at least for me, like I can help set the context for it and then introduce you to people and then let you drive that area. I mean, most of this, I mean, I can admit, I'm trying to divide things up so that it's not just me. Like people seem to come, so there's a lot of like coming to me for stuff, and I think I just want to make sure other people are enabled to lead on the project. But it'll be okay to lean on me for that. So yeah.
Thanks.
Plus, we have a few Spark people here at Netflix that can help sometimes too.
I think, yeah, most, oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, this is true. I just, yeah, I can put my name down, but I may regret that.
I think at least for this one, yeah. Well, there's not many stakes. This is the first time we've actually set up a roadmap that wasn't like a README file with a to-do list. So, so I think it's good. Yeah, no problems there. Cool. And then so I was a little worried when I said owners. So owners kind of comes from Scrum for like who owns an issue, or I mean, sorry, who owns like a milestone or like a overall project owner. But at least for us, like I wanted to make sure there wasn't any sort of like power dynamic. Like you're not dictating to other people, but rather that you're like the community resource for that area. How do people feel about how I've thought of it?
It's sort of like a point of contact as opposed to a dictator, like you said.
Yep. It's like someone that should be able to like help, like facilitate amongst collaborators. Yeah.
I think it's a good definition for this group, especially because, I mean, it emphasized more what you try and value in the like nteract GitHub space. I think that that follows well here.
Are we going to start adding tags or labels or anything to issues so that it's easier for people to track this kind of stuff around the what are we calling them? The sections. We could probably set up the Mr. Meeseeks bot thing from Matthias, so then users could also tag issues by using without needing to have commit privileges, just as an aside.
So to answer the first question, oh yeah, I just realized we called these themes. I guess they're sections because this part was the theme, and then this was like a sub theme. So if I go to, so I mean, we could make each of these a project level thing, although I guess maybe it's org level. Here we go. I started using projects on GitHub to like track what I'm going after, like my overall to do and in progress and whatever else. But I think it would make sense as long as people use it to like make any one of these a project. Like, because if I wanted to do, what would we say? This one, then you could.
So the one downside to projects is, if I remember correctly, there's no good way to get users to be able to put their issues in the projects.
Yeah, it's up to the lead to actually manage the stuff. So we do have issues and tags that reference packages and tags that reference so the labels that we have here, like we could create more labels and people can figure out the labels that they need for what they want. Here's our LaTeX label. I think it's okay.
I see. We have quite a few labels as it is, so we would probably need to do a label audit if that was going to be useful, because otherwise it would just be confusing for users to try to do that.
These ones have been, yeah.
For the paper mill, it hasn't been too bad just because I'm trying to help like people. Just as I see stuff, I'll just like ping it as like, I think Carol made milestone 1.0 milestone, so that helped some of those things. And then I just try, like, when I see a ticket, if it doesn't have any labels, I try to like, oh, it just needs a label that makes sense. And that's been working so far because it hasn't been too many things. But.
Yeah. And I think at least for us, we usually add people to the org pretty quickly. So users can start labeling stuff as soon as we give them access.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's why we have a lot of people in the org. I think that's just like, I made a call out for people to start labeling stuff, like as contributors to the project, to get people to label stuff. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I guess rewinding back, this is like, how do we help track this work and make it like hold ourselves accountable to it? Yeah. Issues are good. Some are going to be cross-project. So yeah. Are these public when you make them? Something cool about projects is that you can automate them now. Boop. Interact.
I personally like this way more than like Jira or something because you don't have to context switch. You can just track it.
Yeah. So I'm going to delete the note. And then you can make none-issue cards, which is nice because then you don't feel like you're cluttering stuff.
It does look like the projects require some level of permissions because I can't, it doesn't, the two that are in there are not public, but I think we could make them public.
Oh, really? Oh, I wonder if only like owners?
Well, I mean, I did it from an incognito window just to see. It says,
oh, funny. I was about to just now do that.
If I think the issue
lame.
might be there might not be great ways to do read-only versions of this.
Ah, okay. Let's see. can I edit? Oh, you can't make it public. There's no like button for it. So,
It might be under settings.
No, there is. It's under settings.
oh, it's like org wide.
No, under the setting, like there were settings and edit, and if you go to settings on that project, it has visibility, public, private, and then organization member permissions between
Oh,
admin.
settings there. Oh, and so you have to manually do it.
Yeah, which I think is fine. But that means we can open it up so people can see.
Oh,
Sounds good to me. Yay, it
public
is read-only.
admin save. Oh, I have to click. There's two different buttons, not an overall save. Well then, boop, boop. Well, I guess I shouldn't change Alex's on the fly here. Menu, settings, public, save. Then wait for the little dealy bobber.
That worked. I can see him now in incognito.
Nice. Okay, cool. That's cool. I know that not every process will necessarily work for people, and we may have to organically find out what works best for people to be effective. So if something's not working well for you, maybe don't do it. Maybe that's not the best advice, but at least for me, sometimes I get stuck in tools rather than getting stuff done. So find low friction ways to get it done. Cool. Any updates from folks on things?
We've got for the scheduling notebooks, one of the pieces for that is open and review if people want to take a look. There's some naming questions and things like that, and I have in there to get other people's input on around notebook engines in particular. I was trying to figure out, so Papermill has under the API section, when it's doing records, it has this API notebook wrapper, which has a few helper methods that can read out certain metadata. But I wasn't sure if we wanted to adopt that everywhere in Papermill or if we wanted to leave closer to the MB format. And then there's some good questions on here about the way we could name some of the things being added, since it's going to be more of a central component of the library. So if people have input or ideas, I encourage you to go look there.
I'm definitely going to check that out because that's one of the things around Papermill that I think can be really powerful in terms of like, especially using these as like collections of notebooks. One thought, or one thing that came up was the idea of moving it into its own repo. Is that also being discussed there?
Yeah, I think in general, of everyone I've talked to, like the 4 or 5 people I've kind of dug into it, I think everyone kind of felt the same way, or felt that like a scrapbook repo or something like that was adjacent to Papermill for doing the record operations made sense. So one of my questions was like, if we adopt, like, since that that class information is sitting closer to the record state, maybe that's something should go with the record code wherever it is and keep Papermill separate from that. But I was just trying to like think through like what should be shared. I do think that the scrapbook would rely on Papermill because you want to reuse the IO section of Papermill for itself. But I do, yes, that was general direction it's going.
Should we have this conversation some other time? Because I have lots of questions
I was
about
just saying I would encourage some input, and I would love to hash out with people, especially on the tickets and the issues, about like what their thoughts are.
Yeah. That makes sense. I just wanted to know for the context of this meeting, like if people are wanting to have a conversation about the details of something like that, like I wanted to know whether we were seeing this meeting as an opportunity to talk about that and to hash that out in an open community way, or so it sounds like no, and this is just reporting time. So I'll go.
No, so you can talk about stuff during these. But we have a fixed limit of 40 minutes. That's all. And we've ran 27 minutes.
Yeah, and I didn't want to like dominate the conversation. So we have time at the end, we can talk about it. But I wanted to like let people know there's a good conversation going on there and some stuff coming along. And I didn't want to kill the conversation with that statement either.
I love the like the meeting like the deference of like, oh, we probably shouldn't talk about this, and then you get like derailed for 5 minutes talking about how you probably shouldn't talk about it. It's like that.
Very meta.
Like, it's always a hard problem to decide. Like, do we just talk about it now, or do we break off and then?
Or do we talk about talking about it?
Well, it was more, do other people have things that they want to talk about right now?
Yeah, exactly. No, it was the right instinct. It's a funny problem with syncing.
And Lucas is back. Lucas
I'll
is
take the
solving for-
opportunity
Oh,
to
good.
say hi again.
Welcome back.
I'm back, yeah, from being busy with thesis and stuff. Maybe just a very quick update from me. I recently looked into the dungeons of our desktop app, meaning the ZeroMQ build and issues and stuff. And I don't want to go real much into detail with it, but there's one project, ZeroMQ minus next gen or NG, that actually now would allow us to build build 4-node 10 and Electron and without any more rebuilds, and looks generally really promising. And I've just started a PR like trying it out with nteract, and I think I just may try it out and see how it goes. If the app breaks everything, or so PRs coming about that, and we'll see if we move to that or
I'm finishing up the Interact.io website. I didn't really know how style components worked for a while, so I was scared of that and didn't address it. And then I'm starting to address it, and hopefully I can get that through within the week. After that, I'd like to work on a node kernel. So I'm just preparing for a talk on Interact later in the month, and then doing some of that work is all I have planned.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I mean, that's it for me.
So this
go ahead.
isn't an update, but I wanted to get an idea of who else is interested in working on this, because this is something that I am thinking about adding to the roadmap and would want to coordinate. I've already talked to Kyle a little bit about this, but so for keyboard shortcuts, like in the web UI at least, it's something that sort of from Classic I really miss when I'm working in Interact. And I was wondering, is anybody else want to work on that, or should I just be charging ahead of my own because I'm the only one who has strong opinions, because I'm the only one who widely uses keyboard shortcuts in the notebook UI?
I'd like to work on the Control F for just searching for text. I don't know.
That is slightly different than what I was thinking about.
Yeah, it's kind of parallel just because it's a shortcut. But
I mean, it's a keyboard command and it's a shortcut for something. Yeah,
that's true.
I think
cell navigation and manipulation, like the notebooky type things.
Yeah, and wants to target all the things we already have available as functions. Finding something in a notebook is a totally separate problem.
Yes,
it involves new features and functionality.
Yeah. I'm more
I know
by what we already have.
So Jonathan Frederick wants to work on this, and he's been active again and is on our Slack. I imagine couldn't make it to today's meeting, but yeah, you'll have someone else to pair with that already knows a lot of the innards there. So
great, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine if you start up like an issue and start like putting something up, there'll be a lot of people interested in that topic. I think I heard it a few times people asking questions about it when we were at JupyterCon, though they weren't too familiar yet to know what was and wasn't there.
That makes sense. I just also know that this is, I mean, this gets very close to configurability as well. Like when you start talking about keyboard shortcuts, people want to change their keyboard shortcuts, which means you need some kind of layer of persistence about settings and whatnot. And I sort of wanted to gauge the room on how much that idea was tied to people's general interest in keyboard shortcuts. Like, because I would prefer to put that off for now.
I would definitely put that off for now. Otherwise it becomes
Agreed.
this like
Yeah.
way complex problem that you have to like maintain for years.
Yeah,
Yes.
be Apple, not Linux, right?
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Just for my understanding, are you talking about basic keyboard shortcuts or like a full-on command like mode, Vim mode or something?
Definitely not talk. Well, technically, the kinds of things that I'm talking about would require something like command mode, not quite like Vim mode. But if you're talking about navigating between cells and merging cells and editing them and moving them around, that kind of stuff requires something that's like very minimally like command mode at least. But not a full on. I know that there was a Vim text editor thing at some point, and I do not want to go into that direction, even though I am a very loving Vim user myself. Yeah, this is mostly for, it is a very mild command mode is what I'm thinking.
Nice.
Also, the thought would be that like, if we set this up correctly, it would give us an avenue to introduce new functionality without needing to have a decision about a UI. So like tags and whatnot, we could have like something there before we have a full like clickable UI for it.
Cool, nice.
Also, if anyone is interested in the topics we just talked about in Owner, or know other people that might be interested, since it's not a this person is doing everything, we'd love to get connected to think to people that also have interest in improving that aspect of Interact.
It's true. And the way to join that conversation most easily is to join the Slack, I would say, and GitHub issues, like Slack for the interactive. I think that, can you remind me how, if people are watching this and they want to go do that, how they do that?
Slack.nteract.io.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we are all out of time. So we'll wrap up from here and then I'll post the video online. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Awesome, bye.